Okay, let's look at question 1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor of the top right fraction. And we're going to start with the numbers. What's the biggest number that goes into 5 and 30? That is 5. And then how many p's can I subtract? Remember, when you're factoring out letters, we're subtracting exponents. I can take a total of 2 from each group. So then we just reverse the process. 5 times what is 5? That would leave me with 1. I'll just hide the 1. P squared times p would give me p to the third. Jump over to the second part. 5 times negative 6 would give me negative 30. And I already have p squared factored out. So this is what I'm replacing the top with. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm looking for matches. Since I'm multiplying, I want to make one giant fraction to look like this. So it'd be 2 times 5p squared, p minus 6 on top. Then I have p minus 6 on the bottom. And then I also have 5p squared. And so I'm looking for matches top to bottom. And when I find those matches, I can cross them out. They simplify. So p minus 6 goes away. 5p squared goes away. And that leaves me with an answer of 2. Now, how could you do this in the calculator? How could I determine if the problem and the answer is the same on the Nspire? Well, let's pull up our calculator here. And we are going to go new graphs. And when you do this, it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's okay. The first thing we're going to do is create a fraction for our problem. And so we're going to do 2 over, now don't use the letter P, use the letter X. We're going to go X minus 6 times, create another fraction, 5x to the third minus 30x squared over 5x squared. We're going to graph this. And if you look right here, you already see that it goes through 2 at the y-axis. So that tells me that that is my answer. The answer is 2. Now to confirm that, let's type in an answer of 2. So when I type in 2 here, you'll see that I get the same graph. And when you get the same graph, you have a match. That's the answer. So what would that look like if we were dividing? Let's do a division problem. Let's look down here at 6. Now when you divide, we have to go back to what I like to call keep it, change it, flip it. So what you're going to do is we are going to keep the first fraction. Let's change color here. We're going to go k minus 8 over 8k minus 64. You change division to multiplication, and then you flip this fraction right here upside down. K plus 7 over 1. And so now what we want to do is we need to find something we can factor. If I look right here, I can do greatest common factor on the bottom of this guy here. So let's do that. We'll change color. We'll go k minus 8. I can factor out an 8. That leaves me with k minus 8 here. Times. Now when you're multiplying, you can go ahead and create one fraction like we did on the first example. So since we're multiplying, let's just put everything together through multiplication, k plus 7. And I don't need to multiply anything times 1 on the bottom because that doesn't do anything. And now we just simply look for matches. We can cross out the k minus 8. And that leaves me with k plus 7 divided by 8. And if you look here, our answer is A. Again, you could do this problem, type the problem in F1, type your answer in F2, and if you do this in the calculator, you can type it in exactly like you see it using the division sign. Let's do one more example. Now, the 2 examples we've done when we factored, we've done greatest common factor. But on example 8, we're actually going to have to do some what 2 numbers. So here we go. Let's see what we can do here. I know that I have 5 right here is going to stay the same. I'm going to do greatest common factor here on the bottom. I can factor out a 5. And since we're multiplying, I'm going to go ahead and create my one giant fraction here after I get done factoring the top. Now here we have to play what 2 numbers. What 2 numbers can you multiply by that give us negative 42? But when we put them together, gives us negative 1. Well, I know 7 times 6 is 42, so if I do negative 7 and positive 6, So it would look like this. A minus 7, A plus 6. We're factoring a quadratic there. And then we have this 5 on the bottom. Now let's start crossing out our matches. We can cross out 5's tops and bottom. We can cross out the A plus 6 top and bottom. And that leaves us with A minus 7 divided by 5. And you can see our answer is B.